Emily Carter sat stiffly in the back seat of a sleek black SUV, her laptop balanced precariously on her knees as she finished reviewing the festival schedule. Snowflakes tapped lightly against the tinted windows, blurring the view of the winding roads that led into Snowvale. The town's reputation as a winter wonderland had sounded quaint in emails, but Emily was skeptical. Small towns weren't her thing. She thrived on the hustle and high-rise skyline of New York City, not twinkling lights and carolers in wool scarves. The SUV slowed to a stop near the town square, where Emily glimpsed the first real hint of Snowvale's charm. Gas lamps glowed warmly, casting soft halos onto snow-covered cobblestones. Shop windows were adorned with festive wreaths and strings of tiny golden lights. The scent of freshly baked gingerbread and roasting chestnuts drifted through the crisp air, making her stomach growl despite the early hour. As she stepped out of the car, she tugged her coat tighter around her shoulders, wincing at the cold. Each breath appeared as a small cloud in front of her face, a reminder that she was far from the mild winters of Manhattan. She shook off the chill, determined to approach the festival with her usual efficiency. After all, she couldn't afford to let her boss, Ms. Hathaway, down. Emily wandered toward the central plaza, taking in the bustling preparations. Townsfolk scurried back and forth, hauling wreaths, stringing lights, and adjusting snow-laden decorations on the main Christmas tree. A choir of children rehearsed a holiday medley on a small stage, their voices mingling with the jingling of sleigh bells. Emily smiled despite herself. The scene was undeniably picturesque, even if it felt a little too quaint for her modern tastes. Lost in her observations, she didn't notice the tall figure approaching from the opposite side of the square. He moved with an ease that seemed almost practiced, scanning the town with quiet curiosity, yet clearly out of place among the flurry of locals. He wore a long, dark coat over tailored trousers and polished boots, and a scarf draped casually around his neck. His dark hair fell slightly into his eyes, and there was a subtle, effortless elegance to him that made him seem almost unreal. Their paths collided with a sudden jolt. Emily stumbled backward, clutching her tablet to her chest, and looked up to apologize, but the words caught in her throat. I'm so sorry," she stammered. The man smiled, a warm, slightly amused curve of his lips. "No harm done," he said, his voice smooth and rich, carrying a faint accent Emily couldn't place. "Are you okay?" Emily nodded, flustered, trying to regain her composure. Yes, I'm fine. I wasn't paying attention." He offered a hand to steady her, and Emily hesitated before taking it. His grip was firm but gentle, and she felt a strange flutter of recognition. Or was it curiosity? "I'm Nicholas," he said casually. "And you are—" "Emily," she replied, brushing snow from her coat. "Emily Carter. I'm here to oversee the winter festival." Her professional tone felt rigid, but she noticed he didn't comment or judge. He just nodded, as if he already understood the role she played in this world, even if it was foreign to him. Nicholas's eyes sparkled with amusement. "Well, Emily Carter, welcome to Snowvale. I hope the town lives up to your expectations." Emily felt an odd warmth at the way he said her name, though she quickly masked it with a polite smile. There was something intriguing about him, something that hinted at a story beyond the quaint square and snow-tipped rooftops. As she moved on, attempting to focus on her festival plans, she couldn't shake the feeling that meeting him might be the beginning of a holiday neither of them expected. She took a deep breath, letting the crisp winter air fill her lungs. For the first time since leaving New York, Emily allowed herself a small, hesitant thought. Maybe, just maybe, this holiday wouldn't be so routine after all. Emily trudged through the knee-deep snow toward the Snowvale Inn, her boots leaving crisp imprints on the cobblestone path. The inn, a charming structure with ivy creeping along its stone walls, looked like it had stepped straight out of a holiday postcard. She had barely checked in when she caught sight of Nicholas again. This time, struggling hilariously with a pair of oversized ice skates in front of the inn. He wobbled precariously, his tailored coat sliding slightly over his shoulder, and muttered to himself in that unfamiliar accent. Emily's eyebrow arched as she approached. "You need some help?" she asked, suppressing a grin. Nicholas looked up, clearly embarrassed. "Ah, yes, I seem to have underestimated the fragility of these things." He gestured awkwardly to the skates, which had nearly pinned his fingers. Emily held back laughter. "You mean you've never skated before?" "Once, many years ago, on a perfectly flat lake, not in a town square full of cheering children," he replied, with mock indignation, though a smile tugged at his lips. Emily shook her head. "Well, you're in luck. Snowvale's ice rink is tricky for beginners. Here, let me help." She bent down and adjusted the skates on his feet, teasing lightly, "Try not to fall on anyone's hot cocoa." Nicholas glanced at her, one dark eyebrow raised. "Hot cocoa, is that a beverage or a weapon?" Emily laughed, stepping back. "Both, if you spill it. Trust me." As Nicholas attempted a shaky glide, the townspeople nearby exchanged curious glances. Whispers followed Emily as she helped the stranger. "Who is he? A wealthy visitor? Some kind of dignitary?" Emily noticed the suspicious looks, but didn't let them affect her. "Ignore them," she said, giving Nicholas a playful shove to start him gliding. "You'll be fine." Nicholas wobbled, arms flailing, and miraculously stayed upright for a few seconds. "I am quite impressed with my own balance," he said with mock pride, only to lose it immediately and crash gently into a snowbank. Emily rushed over, laughing, and offered her hand. "You're hopeless," she said fondly. "I prefer the term charmingly inexperienced," he countered, taking her hand. Their fingers brushed, sending a small jolt through Emily. She cleared her throat and stepped back. "You're mysterious, aren't you?" she asked, trying to make conversation while keeping a professional distance. Nicholas tilted his head, eyes twinkling. "Perhaps, but mysterious can be fun, don't you think?" Emily frowned slightly, unsure how to respond. "I suppose, but I usually prefer to know what I'm dealing with." Nicholas grinned, a glint of mischief in his eyes. "Ah, Emily, that's the problem with knowing everything in advance. Life becomes rather dull, doesn't it?" Emily's cheeks warmed, though she quickly masked it. "I suppose there's some truth to that, but I like things practical." "Practical," Nicholas repeated, testing the word, his accent giving it a musical quality. "Well, I shall try to remain practical then." As the townspeople continued to murmur about the stranger, Emily found herself instinctively defending him. "He's just visiting," she said firmly. "Let's not judge someone before we know them." Nicholas glanced at her, a hint of admiration in his gaze. "You're protective," he observed. "I like that." Emily rolled her eyes, though she smiled despite herself. "Just don't fall into the ice again," and try not to make me regret defending you." Nicholas bowed theatrically. "I shall endeavor to be worthy of your defense, Miss Carter." Emily couldn't help but laugh at his flourish. For the first time since arriving in Snowvale, she felt a spark of excitement, a sense that maybe this holiday wouldn't be as ordinary as she'd feared. Even as Nicholas returned to attempting his wobbly skates, she caught herself watching him longer than necessary. There was something about him, charming, awkward, and undeniably magnetic. Yet a small voice in her head reminded her to be cautious. After all, strangers with too perfect smiles often had secrets. Emily Carter had barely caught her breath from the ice skating incident when she was thrown into the whirlwind of Snowvale's winter festival preparations. Between organizing the town choir, coordinating the lighting for the main square, and checking on vendors, she felt like she was spinning faster than the carousel at the holiday fair. Nicholas, however, had made himself useful, or at least he tried. He appeared at her side one morning, dressed in a wool coat that looked far too expensive for work that involved ladders, lights, and untamed pine trees. "I insist," he said, a mischievous glint in his eye, "that I help with the festival." Emily raised an eyebrow. "Help? Nicholas, last time you tried ice skating, you almost toppled into the fountain. Are you sure you want to help?" He straightened, puffing out his chest. "I am adaptable. I shall rise to the challenge." The first task was decorating the central snow display. Emily handed him a strand of lights while balancing a tray of ornaments. Nicholas, determined to be useful, attempted to wrap the lights around a giant snowman. Within seconds, he was tangled in the cords, spinning in a slow, ridiculous circle. The snowman wobbled dangerously before tipping over, ornaments scattering like colorful snowflakes. Emily rushed to steady both him and the snowman, laughing despite her frustration. "Nicholas, the display is supposed to stay upright." "I was improving it," he said, sheepishly untangling himself, enhancing the artistic flair. Next came the gingerbread house competition. Nicholas picked up a roof piece and, in a burst of enthusiasm, tried to place it without proper support. The house collapsed in a sugary avalanche, sending candy canes and frosting flying. Emily groaned, brushing icing off her coat while he apologized, cheeks flushed and eyes earnest. "I truly am sorry," he said, helping her salvage the pieces. "But perhaps we have discovered the delicate art of gingerbread architecture?" Emily couldn't help but smile at his awkward charm. There was something endearing about how seriously he took even the smallest tasks. A stark contrast to the careless, polished demeanor she'd expected from someone who clearly came from wealth, and perhaps royalty. The final disaster of the day occurred during the tree lighting rehearsal. Nicholas, tasked with pulling a hidden cord to illuminate the massive tree, misjudged the timing. Lights flickered, ornaments swayed dangerously, and a group of singing children shrieked in surprise. Emily's heart raced as she dashed forward to steady the tree. Nicholas caught her elbow just in time, steadying both her and himself. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, the chaos faded into silence. Emily noticed the genuine concern in Nicholas's gaze, the warmth beneath his playful arrogance. She felt a strange flutter in her chest, a growing awareness that this wasn't just a charming stranger. This was someone who, despite mishaps, cared enough to be present, to try, and to connect. "You know," Nicholas said, brushing a stray ornament from her coat. Perhaps chaos suits us. Emily laughed softly. Maybe, but I'd prefer a little less catastrophe next time. Nicholas grinned, his eyes sparkling. Then I shall do my best to restrain my enthusiasm for you. Emily's cheeks warmed, and she quickly turned away, pretending to inspect the lights. Yet inside, she couldn't deny the shift in her feelings. Nicholas was still mysterious, still somewhat exasperating, but he was undeniably sincere, earnest, and magnetic. As the sun set behind the snow-capped roofs of Snowvale, Emily stood in the glowing light of the half-decorated square, watching Nicholas untangle yet another string of lights with exaggerated care. She allowed herself a quiet thought. Maybe this holiday wouldn't be about work at all. It might be about something far more unexpected. The morning after another chaotic day of festival preparations, Emily sat at a small cafe near the town square, sipping hot cocoa to warm her hands. The smell of cinnamon and freshly baked pastries filled the air, but her mind was far from relaxed. Her phone buzzed insistently on the table. Curious, she picked it up and gasped. A gossip website had published a series of photos from the festival. Candid shots of Nicholas laughing, struggling with the gingerbread house, and, most importantly, posing outside the Snowvale Inn in a way that unmistakably revealed his royal lineage. One photo even featured the crest of Ardenia, embroidered on his coat, glinting in the winter sun. Emily's heart sank. She scrolled through the images, disbelief turning into a bitter sting of betrayal. She had liked Nicholas as himself, a charming, awkward, sincere man, not as a prince with a world of wealth, privilege, and expectations she had no place in. She stormed out of the cafe, clutching her coat tightly. The snowy streets felt colder than ever. She found Nicholas at the main square, overseeing the choir rehearsal, completely oblivious to the digital storm he had unintentionally caused. "Nicholas," she called, her voice shaking with frustration. He turned, concern flickering in his eyes. "What's wrong, Emily?" he asked, noticing her flushed face and the way she waved her phone. "You, or, I mean this." She thrust the screen at him. "Everyone knows who you are, a prince. Why didn't you tell me?" Nicholas's face fell. He ran a hand through his hair, clearly torn. "Emily, I wanted you to know me. Not the title, not the palace, not the privileges. I came here to enjoy Snowvale as me. I didn't want you to like me because of that." Emily took a step back, feeling a mixture of hurt and disappointment. "I liked you," she said quietly, voice tight. "The person who tried to skate, who destroyed a gingerbread house, who got tangled in lights. Not a prince. I wanted someone real, not royalty." Nicholas looked down, regret in every line of his face. "And I wanted that too. I still do. But now, I fear I've ruined everything. Maybe it's impossible for us, my world and yours. They're just too different." The snow swirled around them, dusting Nicholas's coat, but Emily felt a cold distance growing between them. She shook her head, trying to reconcile her feelings. The charming, sincere man she had laughed and worked alongside had suddenly become a symbol of everything that might be out of reach. I need space," Emily whispered, turning on her heel and striding away before tears could betray her frustration. She ducked into a quiet alley, pressing her back against the wall as her chest tightened. She felt foolish for trusting him, yet couldn't deny the way her heart ached at the thought of losing him. Nicholas stood frozen, watching her retreat, helpless. He wanted to call after her, to explain, to promise that none of it had changed who he was. But the words felt hollow in the face of reality. His identity as a prince had come between them, and for the first time in his life, Nicholas didn't have a plan. The festival buzzed around them, still alive with twinkling lights and music. But for Emily and Nicholas, the world felt suddenly colder and quieter. Trust, once easily given, now lay in pieces, and both wondered if it could ever be repaired. The next morning, Emily woke to find a small note tucked under her door at the Snowvale Inn. The handwriting was elegant, yet familiar. Meet me at the town square in 10 minutes. I promise. No surprises. Well, maybe one. Nicholas skeptical but curious. Emily bundled up in her warmest coat and scarf. The town square was bathed in soft morning light, snow crunching underfoot. Nicholas stood beside a beautifully decorated sleigh, pulled by a pair of sturdy chestnut horses. I thought a change of scenery might help, he said, smiling nervously. And perhaps a little adventure could mend things? Emily studied him, seeing both the boyish charm and the weight of unspoken pressures behind his eyes. You really think a sleigh ride will fix what a gossip website broke? She teased, though her heart fluttered at the sight of him. Nicholas gave a sheepish shrug. Not fix, just maybe start to understand each other again. Emily sighed, letting herself climb into the sleigh. Fine, but if we get lost, it's your fault. The ride began as a serene glide through snow-covered meadows and towering pines. The world outside felt untouched, magical, and private, far from the eyes of townspeople or paparazzi. Nicholas pointed out frozen streams and animal tracks, and Emily couldn't help but laugh at his occasional mispronunciations of local flora. Do you ever get tired of it all? She asked suddenly, her voice softer than she intended. Nicholas glanced at her, his expression unguarded. Every day, people see me as a prince, an image, a future king. Rarely do they see me as Nicholas. They expect perfection, strength, charm, and I falter. He exhaled, the breath visible in the crisp air. Here, with you, I can just be me. Emily felt her defenses soften. I never imagined being a prince could be lonely. He looked at her, eyes glinting with vulnerability. It can be. But that's why moments like this mean everything. A sudden gust of wind swept across the meadow, whipping snow into a blinding swirl. The horses whinnied, and Nicholas urged them toward shelter. Through the storm, they spotted a small, secluded cabin tucked between evergreens. Nicholas leapt down to open the door, holding it for Emily. Inside, the cabin was warm, the fireplace crackling, casting golden light across the rustic wooden walls. Emily removed her scarf, brushing snow from her hair, and felt the tension of the past days melt slightly in the intimate warmth. Nicholas brought over 2 mugs of steaming cocoa. 2 unexpected adventures, he said, handing one to her. Emily accepted it, taking a small sip. 2 understanding each other, she replied, a small smile playing on her lips. They sat side by side on a soft rug, sipping cocoa and talking in low, easy tones. Emily shared stories of her life in New York, the endless events, the exhaustion, the small victories, and Nicholas spoke candidly of royal expectations, the constant scrutiny, and the moments when he just wanted to be normal. When a comfortable silence fell, Nicholas shifted slightly closer. Emily felt a flutter in her chest, her eyes meeting his. Emily, he began softly. She felt the weight of his gaze and her heart respond before her mind could object. "Nicholas," she whispered back. In that quiet cabin, with snowstorm muffling the outside world, they shared their first tender, heartfelt moment. A gentle touch of hands, a soft smile, and the unspoken understanding that despite the differences in their worlds, a genuine connection was growing. A connection that neither title nor expectation could erase. Emily leaned back slightly, breathing in the warm, fragrant air. She finally understood the pressures Nicholas faced and felt her heart soften toward him. Perhaps, she thought, love could find its way, even through snowstorms, gossip, and royal complications. As the storm raged outside, inside the cabin, a new kind of warmth blossomed, one that promised hope, trust, and the first true spark of romance. The morning after the snowy adventure, Snowvale was buzzing with anticipation. The winter festival's main event, a grand charity ice skating performance, was scheduled for that evening, and the whole town had gathered to support it. Emily arrived early at the rink, clipboard in hand, ready to oversee final preparations. Her heart sank when she saw the chaos waiting for her. The skaters were missing essential costumes. One of the judges had canceled last minute, and the sound system was on the fritz. Panic fluttered in her chest. "Great," she muttered under her breath. "This is going to be interesting." Before she could formulate a plan, Nicholas appeared, hands tucked into his coat pockets, giving her a reassuring nod. "I heard there's trouble," he said calmly. "Need a hand?" Emily blinked at him, surprised by his steady presence. "I actually could use all the help I can get." The next few hours were a whirlwind of problem-solving, improvisation, and creative thinking. Nicholas proved invaluable, balancing logistics with charm. When the skaters discovered a wardrobe malfunction, he dashed to the local shops and returned with replacements, juggling scarves, gloves, and sparkling hats with an ease that belied his royal upbringing. Emily watched him, impressed. "You know, you might actually enjoy this chaos," she teased as he struggled to untangle strings of lights in the rink. Nicholas grinned, hands dusted with snow and tinsel. "Chaos is oddly satisfying when you have the right partner," he replied, meeting her eyes briefly, and something unspoken passed between them. Together, they coordinated last-minute schedule changes, rerouted the sound system, and encouraged nervous performers. Emily noticed how naturally they complemented each other. Her meticulous planning paired with his quick thinking and people skills. The townspeople began to notice as well, whispering among themselves about the strange, charming stranger who worked tirelessly alongside Emily. By late afternoon, the rink was ready. The skaters glided confidently across the ice, their costumes sparkling under the lights Nicholas had helped hang. Emily and Nicholas stood at the edge of the rink, watching the performance, a quiet satisfaction settling over them. "You did it," Emily said, smiling, her voice warm and genuine. "We did it." Nicholas glanced at her, eyes softening. "We make a good team, Emily. Maybe not just for festivals." Her cheeks warmed, and she quickly looked away, trying to hide the flutter in her chest. Yet she couldn't deny the truth. Working together had strengthened her admiration for him, and perhaps something more. As the performance ended and the townspeople erupted into applause, Emily felt a subtle shift. The playful teasing, the snowball disasters, the stolen moments in a cabin, everything had led to this. A mutual respect, trust, and the first real sense of partnership. Nicholas offered his hand, brushing lightly against hers. "Shall we take a bow together?" he asked, a hint of mischief in his tone. Emily laughed softly, taking his hand. "I suppose we should." As they stepped forward, the crowd cheered, unaware of the deeper connection being celebrated in that simple, shared glance. The festival had been saved, but more importantly, Emily and Nicholas had discovered that together they could face anything, even snowstorms, gossip, and last-minute crises. And in the glow of twinkling lights reflecting off the ice, both of them realized just how much they had grown, not just as individuals, but as something that might just become more. The morning after the festival's success, Nicholas received a message delivered by a royal courier. The envelope was thick and embossed with the crest of Ardenia. His heart sank as he broke the wax seal and unfolded the letter. "My dear Nicholas, your extended absence from Ardenia has caused concern. Your presence is urgently required to oversee matters of state and prepare for upcoming diplomatic engagements. It is imperative that you return immediately. Mother, Queen Marguerite." He folded the letter slowly, a frown etched on his face. He had anticipated some scrutiny, but he hadn't expected it to reach Snowvale so quickly. His gaze drifted toward Emily, who was busy coordinating the post-festival cleanup. The sight of her laughing with the townspeople made his chest ache. Emily noticed the sudden change in his demeanor. "Nicholas, what's wrong?" she asked, approaching him cautiously. He hesitated, struggling to find words that wouldn't hurt her. "It's my mother," he admitted finally. "She wants me back in Ardenia immediately. There are royal duties I cannot ignore." Emily felt a cold pang in her chest. "So, that's it? Our time here was just a holiday fling?" she asked, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. Nicholas shook his head vehemently. "No, Emily, it's not that. You've touched my heart in ways I didn't think possible. I've never met anyone like you. You make me want to be better, not just as a prince, but as a person." Emily looked down, biting her lip. "But your world, it's so different from mine. And what about your mother, your obligations, your life in Ardenia?" Nicholas took a step closer, gently tilting her chin to meet his gaze. "I don't know exactly how it will work. I don't know what the future holds. But I do know this. I don't want to leave without trying, without giving us a chance. I'm not willing to let this us be just a fleeting holiday memory." Emily felt warmth spreading through her chest, a glimmer of hope fighting against her lingering doubts. "You mean that?" "Every word," he replied softly. "I may be a prince, but right now, you're the most real, most important part of my life. Snowvale, this festival, it's all reminded me what matters." She searched his eyes, seeing the honesty and vulnerability behind his royal composure. Slowly, she smiled, letting some of her fear melt away. "Then, we'll figure it out. Together." Nicholas's face lit up with relief and affection. "Together," he echoed, his hand brushing against hers in a promise unspoken but deeply understood. The letter from Queen Marguerite lay forgotten for the moment, but its weight lingered. Nicholas knew that decisions would have to be made, and Emily understood the challenges that lay ahead. Yet for now, they had each other, and that was enough to face the uncertainty that the future held. As they walked back through Snowvale's twinkling streets, side by side, the snow falling softly around them, Both felt a renewed determination. Royal obligations, gossip, and the pressures of the outside world could wait. For tonight, they had a holiday, and a love worth fighting for. Snowvale's streets sparkled under strings of twinkling lights, and the crisp winter air was filled with laughter, music, and the scent of roasted chestnuts. The final day of the winter festival had arrived, and the entire town gathered for the grand finale. Emily moved through the crowd, her clipboard now replaced with a sense of pride and accomplishment. Decorations she had designed gleamed perfectly. Stalls overflowed with handmade treats, and the ice rink shimmered under perfectly hung lights. Despite the weeks of chaos, stress, and near disasters, everything had come together beautifully. Nicholas appeared at her side, dressed casually yet impeccably, his easy smile making him glow in the golden light of the festival lanterns. "You've outdone yourself, Emily," he said, handing her a cup of hot cocoa. "I think the entire town would agree." Emily chuckled, sipping her cocoa. "I couldn't have done it without your chaos management," she teased, nodding toward him. Nicholas grinned, brushing a stray snowflake from his hair. "I take full credit for the moments of controlled chaos." As the festival began, Nicholas joined the festivities fully, helping children decorate mini Christmas trees, leading a playful snowball toss with the townspeople, and even guiding the charity ice skating performers onto the rink. The crowd's cheers grew louder with each appearance of the charming, enigmatic stranger who clearly had a heart as big as his royal stature. Emily watched him, and something shifted inside her. It wasn't the title or the mystery. It was the man himself. The way he laughed with genuine joy, the way he cared about others, the way he looked at her with soft admiration. When the final event arrived, a dazzling fireworks display paired with a gentle snowfall, Nicholas grabbed her hand, leading her to a quiet spot in the square. The town's cheer faded into the background as the first sparks of fireworks ignited the sky. Snowflakes drifted lazily around them, landing on Emily's scarf and Nicholas's coat. Their eyes met, and in that moment, all the challenges, secrets, and obstacles seemed to disappear. "You know," Emily whispered, her breath visible in the cold air, "I came here thinking this would just be another job, another holiday, but..." She trailed off, looking into his eyes. "But?" Nicholas prompted softly. "But I'm falling for you," she admitted, the words trembling but true. "Not because you're a prince, but because of who you are." Nicholas's face softened, a radiant smile spreading across his features. "Emily, I've never felt more alive, more myself. I'm falling for you too. Every laugh, every disaster, every quiet moment in this town. You've made me realize what truly matters." As the fireworks exploded above, lighting the snow in brilliant colors, Nicholas pulled her close. Their foreheads touched gently, a moment of shared warmth and understanding. Around them, the town erupted in applause and cheers. But for Emily and Nicholas, the world had narrowed to just the two of them. Emily laughed softly, a mixture of joy and awe, as Nicholas whispered, "Whatever comes next, we'll face it, together." In that magical snowfall, under the glow of festival lights and the sparkle of fireworks, Emily realized that this holiday had given her something she had never expected. A love that was real, deep, and undeniable. And as she rested her head against Nicholas's chest, she knew that this was only the beginning of their story. The morning after the festival's finale, Snowvale awoke to a quiet hush, as if the town itself sensed the looming tension. Nicholas sat by the inn's window, staring at the frost-covered landscape, a letter from Queen Marguerite resting unopened on the table. His expression was conflicted, his mind racing with duty and desire. Ardenia needed him, his advisors, diplomatic meetings, and the careful planning of the kingdom's future waited for him. Yet, every thought of leaving Emily made his chest tighten. She was no longer just a charming stranger. She had become the heartbeat of his holiday, the person he didn't want to imagine life without. Emily knocked gently on the door before entering, her eyes soft but shadowed with uncertainty. "Nicholas, you have to go back," she said quietly. "I understand. Your responsibilities, your world, it's not mine. I can't ask you to stay here for me." Nicholas rose, taking her hands in his. "Emily, I don't want to go, but Ardenia, my mother, my duties, they can't be ignored." He swallowed hard, his voice strained with emotion. "I've never been more certain of anything, except that I want you in my life." Emily's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "And I want you too," she whispered. "But I can't make your life easier, Nicholas. I can't promise you'll be happy if you stay here with me. Maybe it's better if we—" A sudden knock at the inn's door interrupted her. The townspeople of Snowvale had arrived. Bakers, shopkeepers, skaters, and festival volunteers, all bearing small gifts and heartfelt notes. "Wait," called Mr. Thompson, the local mayor, stepping forward. "You've both brought so much to our town. Nicholas, you've shown us kindness and humility, and Emily, you've given this festival life and heart. Don't let the world outside Snowvale take away what's real right in front of you." Other townspeople nodded, voices rising in gentle encouragement. "Fight for this. Love doesn't care about titles. You belong together." Emily looked at Nicholas, hope flickering in her eyes. She realized that even if the path ahead was uncertain, the connection they had built was stronger than fear, stronger than royal duties. Nicholas squeezed her hands, drawing strength from the support of the town and from her courage. "Emily," he said, determination settling into his tone, "I don't care what obstacles stand in our way. I don't care about titles, distance, or expectations. I want us. I want you." Emily's breath caught, and she felt her own heart swell. "Then, let's figure this out together," she replied, finally allowing herself to hope. Nicholas pulled her close, their foreheads touching, as snow began to drift gently outside the inn's windows. The town around them cheered, but for Emily and Nicholas, the world had narrowed once again to just the two of them. In that quiet, snow-kissed moment, they made an unspoken pact. No matter the challenges, they would fight for their love. And as the morning sun glinted off the icy rooftops of Snowvale, both knew that while the choice wasn't easy, it was theirs. And they would face it side by side. Snowvale's frozen lake glimmered under the afternoon sun, the ice reflecting the soft sparkle of nearby festival lights and the gentle glow of lanterns lining the shore. Townspeople gathered, murmuring excitedly, curious about the unusual gathering in the middle of the holiday season. Emily arrived, bundled in her warmest coat, her heart fluttering with both anticipation and apprehension. Nicholas had hinted at a surprise, but she had no idea what to expect. Suddenly, a hush fell over the crowd as Nicholas appeared at the center of the ice. flanked by the town's children, holding lanterns that twinkled like tiny stars. He wore a simple winter coat, his usual princely regalia replaced with the modest attire of someone willing to stand vulnerable before the world. Emily's breath caught. Nicholas's gaze found hers instantly, unwavering and filled with an intensity she had never seen before. "Emily Carter," he began, his voice carrying across the lake, strong yet tender. "From the moment I arrived in Snowvale, I thought I was here for a holiday, for a simple escape from the demands of my life. But what I found was far greater than any royal celebration or palace duty." Emily's eyes filled with tears as Nicholas took a step closer, his breath visible in the cold air. "I found you," he continued, his voice steady and sincere. "I found laughter, warmth, and a love I never expected. And I realized that no title, no expectation, and no obligation can take that away from me. Emily, I love you. I don't want to spend another moment without you in my life." The crowd held its breath, sensing the sincerity in every word. "I promise to balance my responsibilities in Ardenia with our life together. I promise to fight for us, to make time for us, and to never let my duties overshadow what we have. Emily, will you take this chance on me? On us?" Emily's heart swelled, the doubts she'd carried melting away like snow in the sunlight. She stepped forward onto the ice, letting the world fall away until it was just the two of them. "Yes, Nicholas," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "Yes, I will." A roar of applause erupted from the townspeople, and Nicholas swept Emily into his arms, spinning her gently as snowflakes swirled around them. The lanterns glowed brighter, reflecting their happiness in a golden shimmer across the frozen lake. As they stood together, Nicholas pressed his forehead against hers, smiling softly. "We'll make this work," he murmured. Emily nodded, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the winter air. Together, she agreed. The townspeople cheered, snow fell gently around them, and the lake became a mirror of light, love, and new beginnings. For Nicholas and Emily, the gesture was more than grand. It was the start of a love that would defy distance, expectation, and even royalty itself. The holiday lights of Snowvale shimmered like 1,000 tiny stars, reflecting off freshly fallen snow. Laughter and music filled the air, mingling with the aroma of cinnamon, roasted chestnuts, and evergreen. The town had gathered one last time at the square to celebrate not only the winter festival's success, but also the love story that had blossomed in their midst. Emily and Nicholas stood hand in hand beneath a grand archway of twinkling lights. The town erupted in cheers and applause as Nicholas gently pulled Emily close. For a moment, the world faded. The snowflakes, the lanterns, the laughter, all seemed to pause, leaving only them. Nicholas brushed a loose strand of hair from Emily's face. "You've changed my world, Emily. I thought I came here for a holiday, but I found home." Emily smiled, her eyes sparkling with tears and joy. "And I thought I came here to plan a festival, but I found love." The townspeople watched with delight as Nicholas leaned in, and Emily met him halfway. Their lips touched in a tender, heartfelt kiss under the glow of the holiday lights. Cheers and laughter erupted around them, but for Emily and Nicholas, the moment was theirs alone, a promise of love, courage, and a future they would share. In the weeks that followed, Nicholas returned to Ardenia, balancing his royal duties with frequent visits to Snowvale. Each reunion was filled with laughter, adventure, and quiet moments where nothing mattered but them. Emily, inspired by the magic of the town and her love for Nicholas, continued her career as an event planner, infusing her work with creativity, heart, and the belief that extraordinary things could happen when you least expect them. Snowvale became a place of enchantment, where townspeople recalled how love had transformed not only their festival, but also the hearts of those who entered their town. And every year, under the sparkling holiday lights, Nicholas and Emily returned, not just for the festival, but for the joy, warmth, and love that had brought them together. As snow fell gently around them, Emily rested her head on Nicholas's shoulder, and he whispered softly, "The best holiday gift is you." Emily laughed, her heart full, and the best love story is ours. Together, they watched the town glow in the evening light, knowing that sometimes magic isn't in the snow or the lights. It's in finding someone who makes every day feel like a holiday. And in Snowvale, under the twinkle of endless lights, their love story truly began, happily ever after.
The Stories book is a captivating collection of tales that traverse diverse genres and emotions, spanning the realms of fantasy, science fiction, romance, and mystery. Each narrative is a journey into the unexpected, weaving intricate plots and compelling characters. With a skillful blend of vivid imagery and thought-provoking themes, this anthology invites readers to explore the depths of imagination and discover the universal threads that connect us all. From heartwarming moments to spine. We hope you enjoyed these captivating video stories. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming content like this. Thanks for watching, and keep spreading the video story.